I built a $2 million a year online coaching business, and I just fired my entire team to strip it down and rebuild it from the ground up. And it's crazy for me to even say that and to even be recording this video right now. But today I'm gonna kind of break down all the reasons why, tell the story of how I came to that decision to do it, and where I'm gonna move forward from here. And so over the last few years, done over $4 million of online coaching and have helped over 500 different clients sell collectively over $100 million of online coaching using ads and appointment setters and everything else. And so it's been a hell of a ride. It's been crazy. And like some of the results that we've gotten our clients is through the roof. It's insane. And so it's crazy to kind of like reset things and restructure because it's been so good. However, things change. And so today I'm going to break down exactly why I'm doing this and where I'm going. So let's get into it. Now, probably like 3 years ago, just under 3 years ago, when I launched Summit Scale, which is my main flagship coaching program, where we help online coaches that are kind of between like 5 and 30K a month scale to like 50 to 100 plus, right? And it was crazy because before that, I was working for another coach in the space. And when I joined his team, he was at like 40K a month. And 8 months later, we did 220K. I was blasting his ads. I was a sales rep and a client success manager actually coaching the clients. So I was getting the leads, I was closing them and coaching them. And we were just teaching organic. And that was all cute and fun because that was how he helped me actually. He was my old business coach, grow my advertising agency before that. And it was great. But the problem with that is it was a total grind. And because my background was in advertising, I was like, hey man, like, want me to run your ads for you? He's like, sure. And we just started blasting them. Hired a setter to book calls for Instagram, and it was an absolute heyday, right? We met up in a cabin for a week together. There's 4 of us, all young dudes in our early 20s, and we did 100 grand in a week, which was insane. We were booking like 20, 30 calls a day because nobody else was doing it. And so I started teaching some of the other clients like that strategy with the ads, and they started absolutely crushing. Anyways, long story short, a couple months after that, I ended up leaving, and I kind of flailed around for a few months. I had a little bit of savings left, and flailed around for a few months to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. And then it kind of hit me, Jeremy, why don't you start a coaching business teaching what actually worked, which was ads and setters? And so that's exactly what I did. And so I launched at 50K my first month, hit the 7-figure run rate, like 80K a month, month 5, hit 100K a month 7, and then hit over 200K month 8. And then since then, we've done some pretty crazy months on top of that as well. And it's been quite the ride. However, seasons change. And so what was once a brand new opportunity 2-3 years ago is now the new normal. And so what happened for me, a big learning lesson from my end, is that like I went from having a new opportunity offer, which is extremely easy to sell, to now it's the industry standard, it's the normal, right? And so now it's becoming a lot harder to sell the same thing because everyone's kind of already doing it. There's a lot more competition. There's a lot more other programs. A lot of people are like have tried it, but it didn't work. And so now it's become like an improvement offer, which means there's a little bit more friction. And so one thing that kind of realized probably like 8 months ago is that what once served me extremely well no longer serves me as well as it did. And that creates some tension inside because on the one hand, you want to just like keep riding it out. But on the other hand, you know you have to pivot in order to stay ahead of the curve. And I was talking to Dan Martell at the gym a few weeks ago, and I was kind of telling him where I'm at. And he's like, dude, totally get it. He's like, yeah, everything seems to work for like 2-3 years extremely well. And then it kind of stops. And so your main job is to innovate and think of new, better ways to do things to stay ahead of the curve. And so that's exactly what I've been doing. And so with that said, I was at an event a few weeks ago in Nashville, and I'm in their mastermind. It's one of my mentors. He's done well over 9 figures in online consulting sales. And he was walking us through this guided meditation and prayer where I've never felt anything this real in my life. But basically, long story short, close my eyes and I'm visualizing me standing there in front of Jesus Christ and I'm having a conversation with him, right? And there were some prompts that he was working us through and whatnot, but I finished a couple minutes early and I kind of just asked him. I was like, well, if I got Jesus here, I might as well keep talking to him. And I was like, hey, what should I do with my business? And he told me without a shadow of a doubt, with zero hesitation, absolutely immediately, strip it down and rebuild it. I've never had something so vivid and so real happen to me in my life. And it sounds crazy to even say that. Like I understand. But one thing that Taylor also said, the mentor that was hosting the event, is that a lot of the time we don't hear God's voice because we're afraid of what he's trying to tell us. And so I've been feeling a lot of tension towards my company for the last 8 to 10 months, because what was once such a crazy dream of like making 100K a month, like kind of became the new normal. And like we go up to like 2 and 2 something and then back down to 1 something and then like just massive fluctuations. What once served me very well no longer serves me, right? And everything's not what you see on the outside, because what people don't tell you is that when you scale to 100K a month, it's very, very different than what you think it is. Now, what I mean by that is we all start a business, especially a cash flow coaching business, for 2 reasons. We want peace and we want profit, right? Ultimately, freedom, right? Like mental, emotional, time, location freedom, and financial freedom. And what happens when you scale to 7 figures is you actually give up a lot of that freedom, because now it's not like you don't work less, you just work differently, right? So when you're at 30 to 50K a month, it's just you, and it's easy, it's fun. You can do whatever, you have no boss. But when you start to hire like a setter, a closer, a client success manager, a creative director, an editor, an assistant, and like even multiple of each of those roles, then all of a sudden, like you build this incredible thing, but you start to lose some of that freedom that you once had, because now you are a servant to your team. And so I'm here in Croatia right now with 6 of my friends slash clients, other entrepreneurs that are all doing 100K a month. I got this villa for us for the week, and we're all just kind of masterminding, hanging out, having a ton of fun. And one of them was telling me, he's like, dude, he's like, should I let go of my setter? Because what used to be fun is no longer that fun, because now it feels like my setter is just dictating like how my business is run, because he just keeps telling me, oh, you need to increase your ad spend and like just spend more money on ads and all that kind of stuff. But then it's like, well, you don't see the bigger picture, because here's the reality. Here's the raw truth. Let's say you make $100,000 a month. You pay 20%, give or take, to your sales team, 10% to your closer, 5% to your setter. You may have a base on there, but then also bonuses and incentives. So now you're down to 80% margins. You're probably spending about 15 to 20% on your ad spend as well. Let's say 20%, very common, a 1 to 5 ROAS, pretty standard, right? If you're good. So let's say 20%. So now we're down to 60% margins. Then you have to hire client success and coaches. That can be another 10 to 20% of your margin as well. Now we're down to 40 to 50%. Then content, creative editor, or creative directors, editors, assistants, stuff like that. There's another 10%. And so now we're down to like 40%. And then there's software. There's operating expenses, random things that come up. There's like if you want like clothes and stuff for your business, like company merch, bunch of other stuff, like you have to get a new laptop, you get like all this like random things come up, right? And that can be another. So at the end of the day, you're kind of left with like 30%, like net. A lot of people inflate their margins, they inflate their numbers, they are full of shit and they lie to you, because like net profit is much different than gross profit, right? My gross profit was like 70%, but then my net after everything all included was like 30%. So what does this mean in English? It means you hustle and grind your way to do $100,000 a month and you only keep 30 of it before tax. That's a broken model. And I've recently spoken to about 15 to 20 other 7-figure coaches that have all got to 1 to 200K a month, and they're all feeling the exact same thing. Like, man, I'm making way less money than I was before, and I'm like working harder and working more. Now I have to like lead and manage a whole bunch of people and the clients and still be like the direct report for everybody, and it's an absolute shit show, right? And to break past that, like I know like business coaches that say they're like that tell you they're doing 3, 4, 500 grand a month. It's like it doesn't get better. I know that. Like the margins don't just magically like improve, right? Because you have to spend more money on ads. You have to like hire way more people to manage the client intake and the inflow. And unless you want to like build something absolutely insane and sell it one day, like it's a bit of a broken model because I was on a private jet last year with Dan Martell and we were flying to Texas. And I asked him this question because I was like really confused. And I was like, hey, here's where I'm at with my business. Like, I want to be able to like have an exit one day and sell, like build something incredible and sell it. But I was at a Hormozy event at their HQ like a few months before, and basically everyone there was like, "Oh, coaching businesses basically have like very little enterprise value, if any, because you're selling info, and info, like especially with AI rising, it's like info is not valuable anymore. You know, it's like you can go get it, like it's easy, right?" And so they're like, "Dude, you have a coaching business." This is what Dan told me. He's like, "Dude, you have a coaching business, which is a cash flow business. It's an ATM machine. You should optimize it for profit and then take the profit, the cash flow, and dump it into something that actually has value, right?" So whether that's just something as simple as like stocks and crypto or like other actual businesses or real estate, like it doesn't matter. Those things have enterprise value. They have real asset, tangible value, right? But a coaching business does not, especially if it's tied to your personal brand, especially if it's like a marketing and coaching business. Like the odds that you actually sell it are very slim. And like, even if you do, you're not going to get a high multiple. So before, like a couple of years ago, I was like, all right, let's do $1 million a month. Like, let's gun for it. But then I'm like, do I really want that? And the honest answer was like, no, because I know some guys that are doing that, but a lot of them have partners. Like they're the head of marketing, but then they also have like a partner that handles operations and back end. And so that cuts the net profit in half. And so a lot of them are walking away with like 150K a month. They're doing like $1 million a month, but then they're walking home. They're walking away with like 1 to 150. So it's like, is it worth the extra stress and headache? And then what if you want to like shut it down one day? What if you like get super burnt out and you stop? Like now you have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars a month for payroll, and you can't sign any new clients, and so you're just dwindling down, and that's an absolute nightmare. And so the way I see it is like my advertising agency years ago was like my 6-figure beginner business, right? I grew to 6 figures and it was cute and fun. And then my coaching business is my intermediate business. I grew that to 7 figures. Now I'm looking for that bigger play, the 10x play from there, my advanced level business, to scale that to 8 figures and then sell it. And so I realized I can't really do that with the vehicle that I'm in right now and the model that I'm building. But I do know that this is fuel for that fire. And so what I realized is like, why am I working so hard, spending all of my time and energy? Like if we have 100 units of like energy per day and focus, I'm spending 100 units of that on this specific business, trying to force it and grind it to grow. But what like the problem is that takes away headspace and energy from even being able to like be open to receiving that next thing, right? The idea for the next thing. And so when you're so tunnel vision and focused on what you're currently doing now, it takes you away from that. And especially when it becomes very like stressful and just like feels like a grind and you start to get a little burnt out, then you start to wonder why you're even doing it in the first place. And so that happened to me. And I was like, this isn't as fun as it once used to be. And so I kind of like went through this crazy thing at the start of this year for like 3 months where I was like apathetic. I just like was incapable of feeling emotion. I was like, this sucks. I hate my life. And I feel like there's like, I don't know what the next move is. And it was pretty crazy. And so I kind of got through that because one of my mentors told me 2 things. He said, Jeremy, one, like you're living the life that you would have killed to have like 3 years ago. Allow yourself to enjoy it. Go have fun. Go enjoy the life you've created. So I was like, okay, I had to give myself permission to do that. And 2, do stuff for other people that doesn't benefit you at all. And so I started a young entrepreneur mentorship program totally for free where I have 30 local entrepreneurs aged 16 to 23 come to my condo every 2 weeks where I just coach them for free and do a lesson. I had Dan Martell, I had his right-hand man, Sam Gaudette, who runs the media company. I had Caleb Ralston, who is who used to do content for Gary Vee and be head of content and brand for the Hormozes. And then I had my buddy Lucas, who does $1 million a month with a coaching offer. All four of them came to the last one and spoke and did some Q&A sessions, and it was insane. And so much wisdom and knowledge in that room, which is really, really cool. And it's totally for free for these kids, which is amazing. Basically just being the mentor I wish I had during my dark days, which is where they're at right now, building something. So that said, that has doing both of those things really helped kind of pull me out of that funk. And it's been incredible. So back to the story about Nashville. I know a bit of a side quest there. I'm in Nashville. I'm talking to Jesus. I say, what do I do with my business? And he says, strip it down and rebuild it. And that was on a Friday afternoon. 2 days later, on my Monday team call with the 4 guys on my team, I say, hey boys, I told them the story and I said, this is our last week together. And what's crazy is these guys were absolutely insane. They're some of the best people I've ever met. My client success manager was phenomenal. The best one I've seen. My closer, Matthias, Dawson, the CSM, absolute weapon. Matthias, one of the best sales guys and one of the most genuine, kind-hearted people I've ever met. And before coming to Croatia here, I was actually in Portugal for a bit, and him and I were hanging out for a few days. This is a week or two after that happened. And it's these things are like brotherhoods for life. Timmy is one of my best friends. He's my creative director. And Addison, my setter, is an absolute weapon. And but the thing is they kind of saw it coming. And we all did. And while I was on that call, kind of telling them what was going on, you couldn't see it under the camera because it cut off here, but my hands were shaking. I was it was crazy. I was so afraid, and there was so much weight around that decision because I've been putting it off for 8 months since I first started getting that feeling. But the second I said that, we all just felt so much relief. We felt so light. And Matthias, my sales guy, he's dude, he's man, he's I know this kind of sucks, but dude, he's it feels it feels like such a relief. I feel so light right now. And he's he's I see that spark in your eyes again. And I'm dude, I feel it too. And so immediately after that call, I was I haven't felt that light and relieved and free in 2 years. And so the moral of the story there is sometimes you have to, in order, you have to be willing to step into the void, to step into the unknown and do the thing that makes zero logical sense. But spiritually, it makes 100% perfect sense and it feels in full alignment. And the crazy thing is, it's going to be the most scary, terrifying thing that you know you have to do. And the second you do it, everything opens up and unlocks. And so, for example, this was a week or two ago. And did it make any logical sense to fire my whole team a week before flying out to Europe for 2 weeks to host my own event and to attend another event in London after this? Absolutely not. Because last night I was on a bunch of calls and just getting back to clients and whatnot because I'm the CSM right now, right? I'm the appointment setter right now. I'm the sales rep right now. And my content's been slacking a little bit because I'm also the editor. But it feels so free and it feels so good. And I want to just kind of re-engage. And so one of my mentors told me, it's dude, when you're clear on your purpose, you look to engage. When you're not and you're out of alignment, you look to escape. And so I looked at a lot of my habits and my actions over the last 8 months. I was wow, I've been trying to distract myself and escape because I was afraid to face the facts and face the truth. And so that said, I've got a list here of what were the main reasons why I kind of did this, aside from that crazy story where I was told strip it down and rebuild it. Basically, first one is profit. 25-30% net margins, that's kind of broken. It's a cash flow business, but if you're not even making that much cash flow, what the hell is the point? And so I'm okay, I could Like even if I do like 200K in a month, and like here's the thing too, is like when people say they're doing like 200K a month, it's like they're full of shit. Like they're not doing that every month. It's like they do that once and then they like drop down for like 3-4 months and then maybe they hit it again and like same thing, right? That's what happened to me and everyone else that I know as well. So keep that in mind. Um, but if it's a cash flow business, it should be making fucking cash flow. And so if it's not, then something's broken, which means the model's broken. And so that's not good. And so I was like, okay, I need to strip it down, rebuild it from the ground up, and like do it properly. So instead of hiring people, because that's what costs the most money, I'm going to be leaning into automation and AI to like simplify everything. And so profit, number one. Number two is peace, right? Like I was burning through like 15 grand a week, sometimes 20, 25, just to like pay the bills and break even. And so what that does is it causes a lot of pressure to have to sign new clients and generate new revenue, especially because like with like an info coaching business, it's like I teach my clients what they need to do to scale their business. Most of them like double, triple, quadruple in like the first 3, 4, 5 months. And then like, dude, like this is awesome. But then they got what they needed. And so they don't like need the program anymore. And like, that's fine, fair, right? And so there's not a lot of like recurring revenue, which is also broken because like then you're forced to just like have to hunt every single day. And so I'd rather plant a garden rather than have to go out and hunt and like fight and get scrappy, because a lot of times like sometimes like you have to take what you can get. So you end up signing clients that aren't that fun and whatnot, right? And yeah, and then the content, this one's really interesting too. Like I kind of feel like I had to make content just to sign clients. I had to make like posts every single day just to sign new clients. I had to like I was forced. It was like an obligation to show up rather than coming from a place of like creativity and abundance where I'm like, I want to just like share. I want to help people. It wasn't anything like that because I'm like, I feel like I like, in a weird way, I was like holding back just to like try to make more sales. Right. And so now I'm like, I don't give a fuck. And you're going to see a very different content strategy and shift coming from here on out. I can promise you that. Because I want to just like pull back the curtain on everything, be a lot more transparent, and just document the rebuild because nobody else is doing this, right? Everyone's trying to put on a facade, they're trying to put on a show. And to be fair, it's like looking back, it's like I fell into that trap for a while because like you grow, you start to get some influence, and like people start to like know you and recognize you on the street. Or like last year, I was in Italy on the coast on an island named Capri, and like some random guy recognized me, and it was like it was insane, right? And so like that all feels like really good for your ego, but at the same time, it's like you separate yourself from others, and like that doesn't serve anybody because then you start to try and like show and portray that like you're larger than life, but at the end of the day, it's like you're only showing half of the story and you're only showing the highlights. And so I want to show everything. And so my intention with that is like be like the anti-guru, because most people out there are full of shit and they're just pumping and inflating numbers and trying to like keep up with the Joneses. And so when you can just completely detach from that, detach from the need to make sales and just focus on serving people and actually helping people, like it hits so much harder and you become a lot more free. And so, in terms of like the positioning, like, not gonna lie, recently, like, because I've been feeling a lot of pain towards the business model, like, I felt like an imposter making content and teaching people about it because I'm like, I feel like I'm teaching a broken model. Like, I don't even like this. I'm like, why would I, like, I don't want other people to get to that point too, right? And so it just didn't feel aligned anymore. And so, moving forward, like I'm going to solve that for myself, build a completely different model, and automate as much as physically possible to build like the best, like 100K a month, one man show, maybe with some part time support on the side, and a whole bunch of AI and automations and just simplicity. And then help my clients build that out too, right? But first, I need to solve that, and then I can help them too. And so, yeah, I kind of touched on this before too, but another point is like the market shifts, right? It acts like a pendulum. It's like 5, 6, 7 years ago, it's like you can run an ad and then to like a landing page with a VSL call booking link and like just print cash. Now, like you can't do that. It like shifted more from like direct response to like more branding. And then like follower ads and setters. But now it's like everyone knows that they're talking to a setter. Nobody likes being harassed. Like I remember a couple weeks ago, I was like looking at my DMs and like from my account sent like 5 messages to somebody who like never replied. And they're like, dude, like I'm not interested. Fuck off. Right. And I was like, I don't like that look. I like it made me cringe. I really don't like that. And so I'm like, okay, how can I just not have a setter? Right. And like sales, like having to like force and pressure people to like pay you money, like that feels wrong. I don't like that. I'd rather make better content and be a better marketer so I don't have to sell. And so from here, I'm going to be automating the entire sales process. No setters, no closers, just like pure either sell by chat on Instagram with like automations from AnyChat or an AI setter and or like a website with like a checkout link and just like, hey, here's the options, here's exactly what you get, here's exactly who this is for, and just like being 100% transparent and just straight up from the start, and then fully automated onboarding as well. So you have to think about that, right? And so yeah, like I said before, it's like most 7-figure coaches are experiencing the exact same pain. And so like, why would you even want to get there if you know that it's going to suck? And so um, yeah, it's like I see a huge shift away from like just kind of like the hustle and grind culture towards like something where it's like you build a business that just gives you like peace and alignment and purpose and profit and freedom rather than like stress, low margins, like burnout and feeling like a slave to the business. One of the guys here felt guilty going out to the club the other night. And like, keep in mind, when I'm back home, it's like, I don't drink, I don't touch anything. But then like when I'm on trips like this, like retreats and stuff like that, it's like with other guys who are just like amazing and just like a ton of fun, it's like we have fun, right? One of them felt guilty going out because he's like, I feel like I should be like doing this thing like for my team or doing it's like, dude, it's like, why did you build a business in the first place, right? And so a lot of people end up building a business like, and I say a lot of people, it's like, I did this by default, not by design, right? I hired a bunch of people, racked up my expenses because I was told just like, okay, just like buy back your time and like just yeah, you have to hire people and become a leader and all that kind of stuff, right? And so like I did that, and I was like, this kind of sucks, not gonna lie. And I think for like maybe most business models that works for like a pure strict like coaching cash flow business, that's maybe not the case. And that was a tough lesson to learn when you burn through a ton of cash, right? Sales. I want to attract people into my world. I don't want to chase them. I want to hustle after them, right? Like, again, I don't want setting. I don't want closing. I don't like, if somebody wants to work with me, it's like they can work with me. There's a link in the description. Maybe right now to book a call, but I also probably don't even want to do sales calls anymore. Or it might be just message me on Instagram, and it will literally be me getting back to you. I probably will take a little while, but it will be me, 100%. I have nobody has access to my Instagram account anymore, which is crazy. That hasn't been the case in like 3 years. But again, it feels so freeing. And so, like, if you want details of what it looks like, it's like, shoot me a message. I'll build something out, right? But it'll force me to become a much better marketer and like really practice what I preach, and to stay ahead and like just focus on like less pressure and more alignment all the way through, because like buyers are different now, right? There's so much more competition and things are not the same. With delivery, because I hired a CSM and streamlined my program, it felt like I like removed myself a lot. I had one 30-minute call with every single client in the first week when they came on board. I'd kind of review their ads, give them a game plan, and then that was kind of it. Then it's like, cool, hand off to the CSM. But the thing is, it's like, well, like they're not paying to talk to like a CSM. They're paying for proximity to you, right? And they're also paying for like a transformation and information and a process and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, like it almost feels weird, like wanting, like getting that proximity or paying for it, but then like not actually like fully getting it, right? And so even though like my CSM was absolute weapon, just phenomenal clients, every single client, like if you go to my client success stories playlist on YouTube here, you'll see like so many client testimonials and interviews, and like a lot of them mention Dawson and CSM just like being just such a big help, right? Which is awesome. However, like I feel like I kind of pulled myself away too much and lost touch with my community, lost a little bit of touch with my clients. and I want to re-engage and just spend a lot more time and just get back into the weeds, into the trenches. And somebody was telling me, I can't remember who it is, but I have it written down here. They're telling me like a week ago. Actually, it was one of my clients, Giuseppe. He was a weapon, and he's like, dude, like, you should probably like. He's like, I think you should build like a bit of a more accessible like intro model or program or tier of access. And I was like, dude, I've been thinking the exact same thing, right? I want something where it's like low barrier to entry, just like monthly fee if you want to stay in, and just be able to help people and serve, because there's so many people that like want to get help and whatnot, and so many people that I can help, but they just can't afford like the $10,000 program that I was selling, right? And so there's a big barrier to entry. Now there's the one hand where it's like the more you pay attention, the more committed you are, right? And like the less you pay, it's like tend to be shittier clients and more of a pain in the ass to work with, right? But that's why I'm gonna have like, it won't be like next to nothing. It'll be still a little, like a few grand to get in the door, and just like purely like simple. I don't know. I'll get into that in a minute here too. But I'll be very clear on exactly what we tolerate, what we don't, who we want. But he said, not everybody wants to drink expensive scotch. Most people just want to get drunk, right? So not everyone wants to pay 10, 15, 20, 25 grand for like super hands-on one-on-one access. Some people do. Some people like expensive scotch. However, most people just want to get drunk. They just want to like, okay, give me the shit and then I'll do it myself, right? And they don't really care what that looks like, especially when like I've simplified the thing incredibly well. And so it's very easy for people to do it. And also like flexibility. When you build a team, you add complexity to it, and it becomes harder to kind of like pivot quickly and make changes, because you can't really take as many risks to like maybe slow things down, because now you have like a ton of bills to pay, and you're just like, there's a lot of pressure. And yeah, like I said before, it's like now I just feel so light and free and agile. I can literally just like, if I decide to change something, I can just like do it immediately, and like that's it, right? So that said, what's my plan moving forward? I want to have kind of a very simple, easy to access like tier, where it's like access to the course and like the program and everything that I've been doing, like the 10K program. But it was 10K because it was like group calls every single week, but then also like very hands-on one-on-one implementation program between me and my CSM. Now I want to make it just kind of like base level, where it's like group, but then if you want one-on-ones, you can purchase them, right? And you can buy them just as needed, as you want, right? And that'll be with me. And then from there, like next thing is retreats. So events like this, I want to do it at least every quarter in just incredible spots. Right now, there's only 7 of us. Everyone's doing 7 figures to qualify to be here. My last one I did a couple months ago was in my hometown. We had 50 people there, and it was like a lot cheaper. But there's pros and cons to both. And we're planning kind of the next few here as well. So it's gonna be so much fun, because the in-person energy just hits so much differently. And the third one, which I never would have really thought of if I wasn't actually here having a conversation yesterday around the table with the guys, where it's like, instead of selling like one-on-one time and like, or like selling like, yeah, like a one-on-one program for 4 months, 6 months, whatever that might be, like, I want to really go all in with people. And so I want to take some sort of like rev share equity partnership opportunity to help somebody absolutely explode, but then get a chunk of that. So that way I'm 100% bought in, like, and invested into their business, but then so are they, right? Because we both have something on the line. We both have incentives that are aligned, and it's not like pay a bunch of money and then like, hopefully it works out, right? It's like, okay, like, let's go. But I'll use like my main low ticket, maybe not low ticket, but like the mid ticket, like the group model, to like qualify the people that I want to work with. And then of course for the events, like members get discounts and whatnot. And if non-members want to come, they can just pay more, right? Easy. And so really focusing on 3 things: peace, profit, and purpose. And so again, right now I'm like in the middle of the void. I'm in the middle of the restructure, and I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, or like the pricing. I haven't really decided on a number yet, or like the exact deliverables and whatnot. But if you have questions about this, just shoot me a message on Instagram. That's probably the best way to go about it right now, Jeremy_Pogue. And then from there, we can kind of chat and see what works, and see if I can help you. But regardless, like, I sent a message to all my clients, like when I let go of my team, like, I'm like, what does this mean for you right now? I'm like, the only thing it means is like you just get way more access to me and you can come to me directly, right? So it's like, cool, that's a good thing. And yeah, so right now, like I'm kind of in that middle of the void of like the unknown. Like there's a lot of uncertainty and like I can't see the next 100 steps. I can only see like the first one in front of me, hardly. But that's the point, because in entrepreneurship, you have to have complete, absolute conviction and faith that it's going to work out and that you're going to figure it out. And that's exactly what I've done. And so, at every major pivotal point in my life so far, it's been the exact same thing where I don't know logically what the next steps are. And logically, it makes no sense. But intuitively and spiritually, it feels like it's the right decision and it always works out. But it's scary as hell to go through that. And so nobody really talks about this. And so I kind of just want to, yeah, just share that, because the best things in my life have always come on the other side of the unknown, of the void, of that uncertainty and doubt and fear. But when you step into it and lean into it, the fog starts to lift, and then everything that you could have ever imagined comes into your life, because you're telling God, you're telling the universe that I am ready for what you have in store for me. I am ready for that next level, and I'm willing to put it all on the line and risk everything to step up and hit that next level. And so that's where I'm at right now. But like I said, if you want to also follow along and get like hands-on support and coaching and whatnot to systemize your business to make it a lot more peaceful and profitable and fun and simple, then shoot me a message on Instagram, Jeremy_Poe. It's the best place for now right now to do that. And then as I'm kind of working through this as well, I'll help you, we'll just rip ads and book calls and make a bunch of money and whatnot, but then also build it the right way and simplify it and systemize it, so that way you don't actually get burnt out. So that way you build a business that you love, that serves all of your goals and your purpose, and you can change a ton of lives and do everything that you really want to do. So drop me a message on Instagram. Let's chat. Again, it will be me. I have nobody else in there, and I'll give it to you straight, no fluff, no BS. And so if I think that I can help you, I'll let you know what that looks like as I kind of build this out. By the time this video goes live, I'll probably have that figured out. But regardless, if you're interested in working together, drop me a message. Let's chat. I'll see you on the other side. Let's go.